The Commanders had a fantastic draft, all things considered, and with the addition of the undrafted free agents, we have a lot of battles going into the summer camp, going into rookie mini camp, and a lot of analysis before spring or before training camp comes in August. But your boys are back on Ballin and Burgundy podcast with a very special guest to talk about this and break it all down. It's BIB Draft HQ one final time. Let's get into this.
In the 2026 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, football fans, and Burgundy ballers for all of our subscribers, welcome back to BIB Draft HQ here on the Ballin and Burgundy podcast, your one-stop shop for all things NFL draft content. And with the draft season finished, we have one final video to talk about. But fellas, welcome back to BIB. It's been a minute since the three of us have been on.
Good to be back. Good episode coming up.
Yep, for sure. Get to talk all good additions.
Oh, it's fantastic. So that being said, guys, we are proud and blessed to welcome back ESPN insider, Commanders reporter, and the host of his very own show on ESPN Radio. Y'all love him. Y'all know him. You got to hear it because this man does great work. And an alumni of Penn State, where our own draft pick, Kaytron Allen, is coming from. Please welcome back Mr. Lake Lewis Jr.
What's going on, guys? How you doing? I'm good, man. Good to see you guys after it's been a minute, but it's good to be back with you.
Well, always blessed to have you. Always welcome on BIB. You are now. I told Rio and Tone. They say their family, like Lewis Jr., is always a part of the BIB family. We're always happy to have you on with us.
I appreciate that. Yeah, you guys continue to do great work. So proud of you.
We appreciate it. But guys, I think we jump right in. We'll save all the theatrics maybe for the end of the episode. But we actually have, from all insiders, analysts, correspondents, and pundits, a very well-rounded NFL draft with only 6 selections. A lot of teams had 7 to 10 picks. Only the Falcons had less than us. They had 4 draft picks, and Seattle, they had 4 draft picks. But I think all things considered, we had a very, very put together and well done NFL draft class. Lake, I'll let you kind of take Front Street, but I think all things considered, this was a very well done class.
Yeah, I mean, this was a really good class, and I gave them an overall grade of an A. When you think about the fact that they get a chance to walk away with a Sonny Styles, it's their first pick. I didn't think Sonny was going to be there at number 7. I actually had Mansour Delane as their pick. And, the fact of the matter is that, when some things went early in the draft with, Jeremiah Love going to Arizona at number 3 and at number 4, Carnell Tate, it kind of left the door open. And I was like, Washington might get a player that they didn't expect to be there. I thought it could come down between Sonny and Arvell Reese, ironically. And sure enough, Sonny was sitting there at 7. So for them to walk away with their, pretty much current, unless something different changes with Bobby, I think that Sonny Styles is going to be their opening day starter at Mike, green dot wearer as well. So I think that you get a guy that could be your catalyst on defense, similar to what Jaden Daniels was 2 years ago. Sonny Styles could have that kind of impact on the defense this year. And then also to get, Antonio Williams. I mean, Antonio Williams is a great wide receiver as far as a route runner and underneath guy. He's a guy that really is, can make life a lot easier for Jaden Daniels because, Jaden Daniels is going to be a guy to get the ball out quick. And Antonio Williams is a guy that excels in that underneath. So I think that was a good pick. And then some of the other picks coming up, Joshua Josephs, Kaytron Allen, Matt Gulbin. I mean, Kaytron Allen, I'm biased because I'm a Penn Stater. I'm a Nittany Lion. This is the all-time leading rusher there. And he's a tough in-between the tackles runner. So I think he complements Bill Krosky-Merritt, who's like that home run threat. And as well as, you think of some of the other guys that they brought in, a Jerome Ford, they brought in, back from Tampa Bay who can catch the ball out the backfield. So I think Kaytron is a complement to all of those guys. And, I think if you look at Matt Gulbin, the center, I don't think he's going to start right away because I think that's going to be Nick Allegretti. But Matt Gulbin was brought in to ultimately man the center spot. At 6'4", over 300 pounds, that's a large center. So I like the picks. I really do. I mean, even the quarterback from Rutgers, I think, can be groomed to down the road, be the backup to Jaden, kind of take the spot of Marcus Mariota, not right away. But I think that they've made picks that aren't just guys to fill the roster and not play, but these are all guys that they have hopes for.
Yeah. I mean, Nick and Andrew know how I feel about Matt Gulbin. I've been calling him for the past 2.5 months at the same spot every mock draft because I had his at pick 202. That is my boy. I had him at pick 202 because they didn't confirm like whether we were 202, 209 within the last 2 weeks. So I was like, oh, get Gulbin at 202. That's my guy, 6'4", and me and Rio joked when you're on 14 rings. He looks like your prototypical center. White guy,
he does.
Heavy set, looks like he throws hay barrels for a living. And that guy, 100% that guy. Yeah. So when I saw that pick,
for light in the cereal.
Exactly. So I was all here for it.
Guys, man, them cold days, man, you got to get the juices flowing.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, and you think about it, he manned up in the Big Ten, and I'm biased, of course, being a Big Ten guy, but it's the best conference in football. I mean, well, it's probably the best conference in all of sports, college sports. You got, your football national champion, your women's national champion, your men's national champion in basketball as well. I mean, we're doing it all, but for that guy for that guy to man that at Michigan State, that's impressive. And he's also a guy that had a couple years as a starter at Wake Forest before he transferred to Michigan State. So he's got experience at that position. And that becomes, one of the most important positions on this roster because you got to make sure you protect your biggest asset, Jaden Daniels, between the center and Laramie Tunsil over at left tackle. That's an important spot for this football team.
Yeah.
John, I swear every mock draft I did with you, I saw you taking him. Either that pick or the 209. I mean, it was almost every single draft.
I can't hear Andrew at all.
Oh, no.
Can you hear me, John?
Oh, I can hear you.
I don't
What's
hear
going on?
Andrew.
I can
hear.
Weird.
Yeah, he was just making the comment that every single mock draft that we did with John was always like talking us out of taking a center early. He's like, man, I got this guy, Matt Gulbin. We can get him in like the 6th round and all this. I mean, it was every draft.
So can you hear me now? I mean, that's correct. And if you think about it, Gulbin is I saw, people that I've spoke with, there were a lot of people that had him as the highest center, even over the center from Florida. So to be able to get him late in the 6th round, that's incredible.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, not only did he play in the Big Ten, but, as a fellow big guy myself on the line, I pay close attention to these guys. And, he wore the C on his chest in that Big Ten as well. So, he was out there. And as a center, you got to be smart no matter what conference you're in. But to go up against, your run-heavy conference and, big boys pounding it up the middle conference, stuff like that, I mean – that tells you something right there, whether they were the best team or the worst team. Like at the end of the day, you still got to go out there and compete. And the guys that he had to go against across the lines of, the Oregons and the Michigans, all that. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure Michigan had a good few D tackles in the time there. But no, he did pretty good to me. But I'm actually kind of interested in your take on you thinking that he's not going to start right away. He's obviously going to compete. That's kind of what I was thinking. I kind of liked it for the simple fact that whether he starts or not, it's more of a realistic competition in camp than it is the Brandon Coleman move in the center and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be nice that, like, let's just say, Brandon Coleman struggles over there at the guard spot, or Chris Paul, that run blocking really starts getting noticeable that he struggles a little bit. And, you got this center who's been competing in camp and he's been showing out. And he's going to have to go up against some quality D tackles in them one-on-ones, man, in practice. So it's going to be good for him to get that exposure against the Kinlaws and the Paynes and the Johnny Newtons and, actually get, his feet wet per se. But I'm very interested in seeing how he's going to be in this on this team for us. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point that, he comes in as a center, and let's just say he plays really well at that spot, and they feel, enough to entrench him right now, right off the bat, as your center, where Allegretti has obviously experience all across the line, so you could move him over. But clearly, what they've done in this draft in particular is they've built that depth up, if anything.
Correct.
And you guys know that unfortunately last year was besieged by injuries, and they just didn't have a guy that could come right in after some of these major injuries. Well, now you look at the roster, and now you can really have those battles to let the best man win at his respective position, something that they really didn't have an opportunity to do. Because let's face it, the first year they exceeded everyone's expectations. Although I did have them winning 12 games, so
he did.
But they did. They exceeded expectations, and they did it with some older players, and they wanted to run it back last year with those same older players because they were that close to getting to the Super Bowl. But when those older players got injured, you could see some of the younger guys weren't ready yet. So now this year in the third year, some of your younger guys are now chomping at the bit to get their opportunities. And then you have another draft that looks like a stellar draft, if you ask me. So worst case scenario is some of these guys that were drafted, if they're not starters, a couple of them are going to get major playing time. I do think that you have two starters right off the bat, and Sonny in the middle. And then you're going to have Antonio Williams be your opening day slot guy. So you got two there. Now the third option is, is there someone else out of this? Maybe not. You might have some undrafted guys that they brought on the roster, potentially a kicker that could move, Jake Moody out the way. So we'll see.
Yep. We'll see.
If I get in the gym for a week, I might push him back. So.
I mean, look, man, I got to tell you, the kid from SMU is a monster, and not saying he'll start, but he's 6'5", 315 pounds. Yeah. That's not normal.
Yeah, that's hard to pass.
So, and let's be honest, you have new coordinators. You have new coordinators on both sides of the ball, and really a new face in the building in Durante Jones. So you get a clean slate. If you're a rookie, undrafted rookie, high price rookie, free agents that have come in, everybody's got to earn their keep. And if I'm a guy that's an undrafted free agent, I'm balling out because there's no other impression, just like no other impression for the veterans in the building. Everyone's got to show him something. So you've got an opportunity to make a name for yourself early.
Yeah, just wreak havoc, man. Just go out there and compete, and just don't quit, man. You got who cares who's in front of you? Go earn it, man. You know what I mean?
100%. I don't know where he went.
Let
it fly. Andrew, I'll start with you while we gain Nick back. Who was your biggest steal of this draft class?
Yeah, Lake, can you hear me now? I don't know if he can. That's all right. We can sort of plug through this one. I'm going to go basic, and at the end of the day, I can't imagine a steal bigger than Sonny Styles. Like Lake said, I thought he was going to go before 7, and once all these other players started going earlier, I thought there was a chance we could get him. When the Chiefs traded up, I was worried that they were going to get him. That's honestly what I was worried about, and Sonny's going to be our guy for the next many years. He's a quality player that's already NFL ready. At 7, having someone of that high talent is just so rare that even though we knew there's a chance to be there at 7, to me, that's still just a huge steal for us. I think Matt Gulbin would be my second pick behind him. He's pretty close. I'm not very comfortable with our current center situation. I think releasing Tyler Biadasz is one of Adam Peters' biggest mistakes, just letting him go. So I think having a big center that faced good competition, he could be someone that develops into a really nice role and could be an answer for a while as long as he develops correctly. So, and he'll also bring competition for that center spot. So he was great value. John, I know you're excited about that too. But
100%.
I'd say those are my two best value picks right there.
Okay, so Andrew, for Lake, if you couldn't hear, he went with Sonny and went with Gulbin at his 2 spots for his biggest steals. Nick, I'll go to you next, and we can rattle these off. What was your biggest steal of the draft?
Yeah, so just piggybacking off of Andrew, I mean, the biggest steal is like obviously Sonny Styles, man. I mean, that dude should have went top 3 like easily, and he could have fit in anybody's team. Obviously, he's not going to go to, I'm old school. I almost said Oakland, but he ain't going to go to Raiders, right? But
Yeah.
But if leaving Sonny completely out of it, I truthfully think one of the biggest steals is actually Kaytron, man. Because he was like, I think when I did my rankings, I think he was either the fifth. I think I had him 5 on my board for running backs. The biggest thing about him, man, is you go to a prestigious school like Penn State, right? Even though my household's all about OH. Sorry about that, Lake, but it is what it is, right? But to have the type of running backs that you had going to Penn State, and to be the all-time leading rusher there, and then especially on top of it with Singleton being there this year, and he still balled out with 1,000 yards and a subpar season for them. I mean, I think he's a huge asset to this team just for the simple fact, like going back with what Lake said. I mean, you can hand that guy the ball, and he's going to punch it up the middle, and he's going to be way more successful than Chris Rodriguez was. And I mean, all last year, the entire fan base was ready to, tattoo Chris Rodriguez on their back. You know what I mean? They wanted him to start, and why isn't he getting the ball more, and da-da-da-da-da. So with a true running back in Kaytron, man, I'm not saying he's going to start over Bill, but with the starters, with Sonny and Antonio, like with what Lake said, I agree with that. But I truly think going into game 1, I would definitely not be shocked if it was Bill and Kaytron splitting with Rashad White coming in on like the passing downs type of like how McNichols did. Yeah. But I could definitely see about as close to a 50-50 split for them as that you can get without obviously being 50-50. But that would be my take on that.
All right, I like that. Lake, what would you say is your biggest steal of this draft class?
That's a great one. I definitely like Gulbin a lot. I mean, a lot, because I thought he could have gone a lot higher. But it just goes to show you, centers are kind of devalued as far as their draft status. We all know Sonny's going to be and should be a great player. I'm going to say Antonio Williams. I think he went around where he was, expected to go, as a 3rd round guy. But I got to tell you, I think that he's giving this football team something that it hasn't had in a while. I know Luke McCaffrey's kind of like a jack of all trades, but does Luke do anything great? He does a lot of things really well, don't get me wrong, but as far as great, I wouldn't say so. I do think he's an exceptional, kickoff returner. I will give you that too. I think he's really good at that. But I think that they really needed a guy underneath, a demon that can get open off the line, get open quick, make, contested catches in traffic. And Antonio Williams does that. Antonio Williams, to me, I said this, even all the way up to last week being in Pittsburgh for the draft. I personally thought the best receiver in this draft was Makai Lemon. And I liked all the different things that he could do. He ate underneath. He was a contested catch guy. He's tough. Antonio Williams is kind of in that mold. Maybe not as physical, but can definitely hold his own. But he's a guy that gets yacked too. He's a guy that will catch the ball underneath and still get some more yards afterwards. And I just think with Jaden Daniels, when you look at Jaden Daniels and what he does, the bulk of Jaden Daniels' throws are, less than 10 yards, and they're quick throws. So I think a guy like that can get off the ball real quick underneath, and now you have a tight end now that will also demand some attention because a guy like Chig Okonkwo is going to get the ball and get some yak as well. It just opens up the offense in the middle of the field for Terry and whoever's on the other side, whether it be a Brandon Ayuk coming, because he will be, or someone else, De'Ami Brown. It's just opening up the offense even more.
I agree.
Yeah,
I'm with that one.
Personally, in that spot, I would have taken Brazil over him. But that's not to say I think that he's way up here and Antonio's down here. Like, I'm not going that route, but I agree with what you said. I think he will be that guy who's like, the take the pressure off Diami and Terry trying to run all these like tunnel screens, and here comes Lane for only the third time. So, it just doesn't make any sense to keep doing this kind of stuff with a one-dimensional guy. So I think Antonio's more along the lines of like, he can catch those short passes, and then he can also get open, on the 10, 15-yard, middle route. So
that's fair. That's fair. So that being said, I said earlier, we got a lot of UDFAs that I was looking at into the draft, and some people were too. And I'll bring up those names here real quick, because I knew two names coming into this process that some did not. Leg, were there any UDFAs for you that kind of stood out as like a hidden gem per se?
Well, I mean, it's funny because I go back to training camp last year, and I was speaking with one of Jaden's folks that was up visiting from LSU, and he assured me that Chris Hilton would be a commander. And here he is. Obviously he and Jaden have some history, and he's a decent speed guy. He's like 4'4", 6 feet, so not bad. There's some guys that intrigue me though. I think Jaden Bradley intrigues me too, because he's that big receiver, that 6'3", 205 guy, that I think this offense could always use another bigger body. So, could he be the Ja'Cory Brooks of last year's camp? We'll see. But he's got an opportunity. I do like Jeffery M'Ba, from SMU. We talked about him earlier. Big dude, big guy. Malik Spencer's not a bad safety, ironically, from Michigan State. All of these guys have upside. A guy that doesn't have a lot of stats behind his name is Quentin Moore, the tight end from Washington, but he's a big guy, not particularly fast. I think he runs like a 4.7 if I don't recall what, when he was in Indy. But I think all of these guys have chances to clearly, if anything, be on the practice squads and work and keep working. As we said, it's not over if you're on the practice squad in the very beginning. It's where you end up. And a lot of practice squad guys have excelled in the NFL when their number's been called. I think the two guys to really take a good look at out of this whole group that really have opportunities to potentially be on opening day is M'Ba and Drew Stevens. I think he might push Jake Moody. He really could. This guy's got several walk-off game-winning field goals at Iowa. Big leg. It's nasty out there weather-wise, so he can kick in all those conditions. So I like the fact that Moody will have some competition, because I was a little concerned, you're giving another kicker a job without having ample competition. Well, now he's going to have some, and let's face it, if you can get a undrafted free agent kicker, with a low salary to beat out an incumbent starter, that's always a good look.
Oh, it's fantastic. Nick, we'll go from bottom to top. Nick, what are kind of your hidden gems in this grouping?
Yeah. So, obviously, I don't know anybody that's not excited about Chris Hilton, really, just because of the simple fact of LSU, the connection with JD5, and the potential there. Like Lake said, I mean, he's a good speed guy, and you can't deny that. And Terry's pretty successful. Diami's been successful with him, and he is just a go and get it, type of guy. And, to introduce that into our offense, that I think that's really a good upside to this wide receiver room, because we've got, the Lanes and the Lukes and, players like that, where it's like constantly, like they can only really do the slot. Lane tried to go outside last year when injuries came up, and, we could only do so much with him out there, especially as a rookie. So I don't really fault him for that. But a guy who plays outside, has a connection with JD5, and is a true speed threat, go deep ball, go get it guy, I mean, that can open up everything. And, that goes back to opening up for Chig underneath. You know what I mean? So even if he doesn't get a target in a game, he can make targets for other guys. So, however, I'm most excited about Chris Hilton for sure. But Drew Stevens, man, our history with kickers has just been so awful. He's going to go out there, and I'm so happy to finally see competition. Just get guys in the building and just let them go. Stop these one-day invite to the camps. Whoever makes the most out of 10 kicks gets the job. I'm over that, man. Just let the guys go out there and actually kick and compete and go up against real live competition. But to piggyback kind of going off the structure of Lake, I think the two guys that can actually make, an opening day thing, I think M'Ba for sure. That size is just, you can't deny it.
Unfair.
And imagine a package where, you need a run stop in defense and you've got him and Kinlaw next to each other. You know what I mean? So, golly, and then you even do a 5-man front, put Settle in there too. That would be unbelievable. So that's a lot of packs that you got to move.
The other thing, not to cut you off, but the other thing with M'Ba is that he's older. He's 27 years old.
He's
28 this year. So you're not bringing in a guy that old if you don't have plans to kind of get him on the field earlier than others.
Yeah, he's not just a guy who's I think I know what the A gap is. It's no, you destroy the double team. You've done it a million times. You're here to just wreak havoc. So. And then for the room, the safety room on us, I think Malik Spencer can actually do pretty good on this team, man. He's shown quite a lot of athleticism, especially with the ball in the air, whether he intercepts it, knocks it down, or just, is right there hip to hip with a guy. So, and I love how he can play in the box as well. So, a younger, Harris or a Quan or a, Breves, whatever name you want to throw out there. He's just a younger guy that can come out there and actually, now
he's similar to Nick Cross.
So
he's very similar to Nick Cross. So that's, you could get a younger version, and Nick Cross is only 24 years old too. So
you're right.
Now you have some thumpers, so to speak, that'll come into the box.
And what a
100%.
Great guy Nick Cross to learn from as well. Coming in.
Yeah. All right. This man's things keep dropping. There he goes. Andrew, go ahead and get yours off real quick.
Yeah, I'll jump in here real quick. I think M'Ba's going to be awesome. He is a athletic, strong dude. Come in here, he's going to really compete with our guys. And he absolutely could be really nice in certain defensive scenarios. Malik Spencer, he's got good numbers. He's a quality safety that plays quality competition. Last 2 years, he's had 120-some tackles, 11 pass breakups, 2 sacks, and 2 interceptions. Good numbers. And Togaya, correct me if I'm saying his name wrong, he has allowed 7 pressures and 7 hurries and 393 total pass blocking opportunities, and he has yet to allow a sack. Also plays solid competition. He's a big guy, and I think he's going to come in here. He played center for a while, I think, and left tackle. He's played different spots. He's going to come in as a guard, and I think he would be awesome on practice squad or even to compete for depth. And then lastly, Stevens. We have, like Nick said, we have not had a good kicker in a long time. There's just a clip of him that went kind of viral on Instagram. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen that. It's the 72-yard field goal. Yeah. Or is that 70 or 72? I forget.
I think it was 72.
It's still sevens in it.
This wasn't in the game. This wasn't with live players being rushed. But still hitting a 72-yard field goal is just insane. So I think someone who's got a big leg, who has a really good experience on a college team hitting important kicks, I think he's going to come in here and compete with Moody. So hopefully he can solidify himself as a solid kicker for us. And Bradley's just a big body. I think he's had a few games at UNLV where he's just gone off. He's also in some games where he hasn't really done a whole lot. But that size is lacking in our receiver room. And that's something I'd love to see. He absolutely could be a valuable piece further down that depth chart. So I think a lot of guys are going to compete, make their names known, and I'm excited to see some more stuff from them.
Yeah, Robert Henry Jr., we haven't really talked much about him, but I mean, it's going to be tough to crack the running back room this year.
Yeah.
But this is a guy that has a nose for the end zone. You know, he had like 28 touchdowns, you know, in his time there. So, again, this just goes to show you, you know, you guys know that Adam's my dude, and a lot of people, like, you always hear an apologist for him. And I'm like, I just don't know what to tell some fans sometimes. I'm like, you know, you guys, I don't know what you're looking for. You complain when there was no GM for this franchise for all those years. You get a competent one in here that's pulling rabbits out of hat. And you complained about his first round pick last year. You had some people even complain about Jaden before they saw what Jaden did. They were like, oh, they should have taken Drake May. They got the wrong quarterback.
No.
Look at what he's doing. Everything he's touched has turned to gold. And then if you say, like, oh, Ben Sinnott hasn't done anything, and some of these other second rounders, look at Brandon Coleman, he doesn't even start. Look, man, it's everyone's not going to hit the ground running, but for the most part, all of these draft picks, with the exception of one who, you know, Hamilton, well, he's no longer there. Hampton, you know, Dominique Hampton, he's no longer there. But outside of that, everyone's contributed to the Washington Commanders, and some of them have done it at Pro Bowl levels. Some of them are going to do it at Pro Bowl levels. And if you look at the regime and look at what they have today after this third draft with this ownership group, I mean, come on, man. These three drafts have been better than the 10 previous before them combined. So,
especially all those raw years.
I mean, some of the guys from the other drafts before them, they're not even in the league anymore, and they're still under 30 years old. So, I mean, come on, man. You got to give credit where credit is due. Adam's 100%. Cooking right now. He's cooking.
100%. 100%. Yeah, I mean, when Dom Hampton is your sole outlier, and look, I mean, they know, the people know, I've been Benson a guy since Kansas State. Me and Josh were high up on Sinnott, and then we looked at the tight end room after year 2. We went, he third, ain't he? He number 3, ain't he? Sinnott, Bates, and then Ertz. It's like, yeah, it's a little hard to get him into this.
And you know what he's going to be this year? You know what he's going to be this year?
Pro Bowl, hopefully.
he's going to be number 3. I mean, because Chiggs are starting tight end, and then you have John Bates, your backup, your mauler, and Ben's going to get some burn. Don't get me wrong, but
he will.
If somebody asked me the other day, how many catches do you expect for Ben to get this year? And he said, is the over under 25?
Way under.
This might be under. It's under. It's like 19, 20. And that's no disrespect to Ben. I like him a lot, and he showed a lot last year when given opportunity. But he's not a starting tight end. He's just not. And that's not knocking him. I still got to go in the locker room and see these guys every day. It's just a fact. It's the fact. Because if he was, you wouldn't have gone out and gotten Chig. As simple as that.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I did see something the other day that said Zach Ertz is still in talks with the Commanders and doesn't want to retire yet. He doesn't want to go out after that injury. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities he comes back for another year. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I did see something that they are still in talks. So we could see where that might develop in the future.
Yeah, Zach is a locker room guy. He's a great dude to be around, and he offers a lot of wealth. To me, he's a Hall of Famer when he hangs it up. Maybe not first ballot, but I think ultimately he has enough to walk into Canton. Okay.
Yeah.
So you need that kind of presence around. It's kind of like I keep beating on the drum that I want Adam and Bobby and Coach Quinn to get this thing figured out. so that he can come back and not take away from Sonny or any of the other guys, but to enhance them and help them know what it is to be a professional who has aspirations. I just think he would be the perfect mentor for Sonny. I really do. And that's Zach. Zach can be a great mentor to some of these guys and also let them know from the tight end room, this is what Jaden's looking for, because Zach was Jaden's guy. This is what he's looking for, Chig. This is where you need to be. This is Ben. I can still help you with this. I don't expect Zach to play for them this year. I don't. That's a knee injury on a guy that was already starting to show the age. I know he doesn't want his career to end that way, and that's respectful of that. Even if it's him putting his uniform on late in the season, I don't want fans to expect Zach Ertz to be the starting tight end at any point ever again. And that's just being realistic. But to let him go out on his own terms, that's fair, and that's what he's working towards.
100%. I'm with that. But with that being said, guys, I think it was a fantastic draft class. I gave it an A. I think fans were more upset about the Athan pick, but when you look at the top 30 visit, you saw what he did at Rutgers, the QB, and you kind of see what Blau likes in a quarterback versus Cliff likes in a quarterback room. Marcus can't be the backup forever. Athan's got a good size and a fantastic deep ball. Well, Blau, even big arm. Yeah, again, another Big Ten big arm quarterback.
His high point, go up and just only your receiver can go catch it, back shoulders. Those were amazing. And I've had a couple buddies, and I'll keep it short because I know you got to roll out. But I've had a couple buddies that are like, "What does this mean? They shouldn't be worried about what if Jaden goes down. They should do everything they can to make him healthy." I'm like, don't you think that
it doesn't work like that?
If they had a pill that they could give them and say, "Hey, man, you take this twice a day for the whole season, you'll never get hurt," they would give him that pill twice a day. But that's
all you got to do is look at. All you got to do is look at the Rams. The MVP. But he's a year older. You still have Stetson Bennett. But you still go out and draft in the first round, which I thought was crazy. And I know Sean didn't like that pick, so stop it, Sean. We know. We know. Trust me. And I also know a little further than that too.
Okay.
I ain't trying to get no one in trouble here.
Yeah,
I was told somebody's good friends with somebody's dad. That's what I was told. So, bingo. Wow. Yeah.
That's how it's all about knowing people, right? And no matter what you do for a job, but for them to bring in that quarterback for a top 30 visit when they could have had anybody in that building, they could have picked anybody in college football to come into that building, and they chose him. And do I think that he would have went undrafted? Probably, right? I'm sure he would have went undrafted, but there's risks there in trying to get him in the building as an undrafted guy, and you never know who's out there, trying. Oh, wait a second, AP likes this guy. Maybe we should take a look on him.
There's a team not far from Piscataway, where Rutgers is, that needs a quarterback and needs someone. He could have got the call from the Jets. Even if he wasn't even drafted, he could have got that call as an undrafted free agent. So Washington probably, I might be saying too much here, but Washington, put it this way. I like the pick as a 7th round draft pick because most 7th rounders don't give you much, but Washington's had some success of recent with Bill Prosky-Merritt. So they didn't draft this kid with the expectations that if he plays okay, great, it's just the pick. No, I think they have every intention for this guy in 2 years, to be the backup quarterback for Jaden Daniels, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah, and then that just to say one last thing, I think that with that pick, they are molding him to go be a quality backup because Marcus isn't going to be here forever. And I love Marcus. I think he's great. I think he's well past his prime for sure. And he has really good games in losing efforts though, man. So that's the thing that kills me with it. And if you can bring a guy in and mold him, because we all know who Sam Hartman is. Josh Johnson's gone. Like we're done with the Sam Hartman, pretty boy, muscular jaw, picture taken guy at camp. I'm over it, right? I don't care anymore. I want a guy who's going to go out there and, heaven forbid, something does happen. Like throw him out there and he'll understand the system. And you got a new coordinator and a coach that like the guy. So clearly they brought him in for a top 30 visit for a reason. And that's where I'll leave that. So.
Yep.
At the end of the day,
I also think that their coach at Rutgers is, he's a guy that has some NFL experience too, so you were going up against a pro look in practice every day. Maybe the defense didn't do much, but the point is the sets and looks that you looked at every day are going to be some similar things that now at the NFL level. So it's not like he's going to be totally lost. Like when you look at Hartman, it was bad. I mean, it was like, what are you seeing? You're not. You're seeing ghosts. I think the kid from Rutgers is going to be a little bit more advanced, and he's bigger. Like we said, bigger arm, has some size, had some success in the Big Ten. But he played at Rutgers. It's levels to it. So I think
pros and cons.
Fine.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I really don't think you can get mad at a 7th round pick going strictly for just a backup developmental role when Marcus Mariota's 32 years old. This is a guy that should end up being our backup in the future. And I mean, a 7th round pick, you can't get mad at that. Like, he's not going to replace Jaden. We don't expect Jaden to have some career ending injury, and this will come in and be our future. This is a 7th round pick that people should not be getting this mad about. I think it's a good pick. No. Like Lake said, there could have been competition even if he wasn't drafted. Just getting this guy in the building, making sure he knows that, there's this plan. You're going to progress to our backup quarterback role, and we believe it can happen. So I'm all for it.
I'm all for it.
I mean, how long has Sam Hartman been on the roster?
And we could have
3 years.
And he's right, 3 years, and he's still developing, or maybe he can't develop that. So you could look at it that way. This kid's bigger, stronger, and at the end of the day, if it's 3 years, Mariota's 32. Maybe if Mariota's the backup for another 2 years, who cares? It's perfectly fine. You know what you have in your backup. But this is a good opportunity for this kid to not have any pressure, but just in practice, just develop. And he's going to have a better defense to develop against as far as the backups. They're going to be so much better for him to get quality reps against.
Just get better.
Hey, I said on Monday on the Burgundy breakdown, because we moved to Monday nights, no Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Sam Hartman will be a L'Oreal or a Dove soap sponsor by the next 2 years. No doubt about it.
He hates when we say that to him in the locker room. He hates it. But then again last year in the locker room, because I try to keep up with my fashion, and Jaden and Debo and Big Laramie. I mean, they all think they can outdress everybody. And Hartman comes up, and I ask him, look, we know about you, but who's the best dressed guy in here? And he said, I'm not included. And I said, no. And you know what he said? And it kind of like took me back a little bit. Like, what? He said, well, this is what I do for a living, so I can't be included in it.
Okay, Sam. Nick said I had enough of Sam.
So he does know where the bread is buttered. He does know where if this doesn't work, he already knows what's going on next. So
knows the only reason that we know him.
Yeah. Exactly. So I was like, okay.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with Nick's computer, guys. But we'll get this figured out. But
don't ever let y'all's kids get on computers, man. They break stuff. All right.
Now I can't hear him.
Oh no. Oh man. All right. Well, Lake, we appreciate you staying on. Technical difficulties aside, and staying on later than I thought we would have you. So again, we appreciate you. Always love to have you on. Next time I am in DC, because I'm gonna try to go to a game this summer. I will try and link up with you this time, because that December was a very, very interesting time at Northwest.
Yeah, well, let me know, and I look forward to it. I'll be traveling around with other games now to cover too. So yeah, it'll be
nice.
it'll be interesting. But yeah, hit me up and we'll make it work as always.
Hey, we appreciate it. Hey, I told the fellas this. I will be in DC for the draft next year. I'm buying hotels this coming month because I need to pay off some of these credit card debts because your boy is broke at the moment. So I'm trying to get this. I'm trying to get the hotels now, so I lock in my price. I'm trying to do all this ahead of schedule.
But just hit me up. Hit me up. DM me or text me or whatever, and there's some things I can help with. So we'll see. Okay.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, guys. Wherever you get your podcast, and especially if you listen to ESPN Radio, the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. It's a fantastic, just everything he's done in the past and the present and the future. It's all fantastic work, whether it's fashion, whether it's football, whether he's talking Penn State Commanders, or the way he and the missus dress and looks like $1 million, while the rest of us look a little barren around sometimes.
She outdoes me, so I have to step it up.
See, that's not a bad problem to have. When the missus, dresses better, that means you got to elevate your game up. I found the same problem. Your boy does not dress well. It's
she
bad.
Got mad at me recently because I shaved my beard off, and she's like, "No, you gotta grow that back, babe." So
see, my girl's the opposite. They want me to shave the beard
now. There's dirty shadow. She's like, "No, I need it. I need some hair." So it's coming back.
Hey, there we go. I love to hear that. But guys, follow Lake Lewis Jr. All of his projects, all of his accounts will be down in the description. I cannot thank you enough for staying on later with us through all the technical difficulties, through the weird headsets, the mics, the cameras. Again, just nothing but blessed to have you on again and again. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you,
guys.
man.
I appreciate you guys. Keep up the good work.
We will. Guys, we are going to sign off here. We will see y'all next time, Monday nights for the Burgundy Breakdown, and then wherever y'all get your Ballin and Burgundy podcast. We will see y'all around from Andrew, Nick, John, and Justin who sign off. We'll see y'all next time. Raise hail. We are out.